What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Prairie Puck Podcast. It's been a little while since we have all talked about the Winnipeg Jets, and a little while ago it was a lot more positive, as things have not too well for the Jets over two wins over their last 11 games, I believe it was. I believe that's what Mike McIntyre tweeted out last night. It has not been very fun being a Jets fan. Confusing with pretty light activity with just a couple of forwards picked up. It wasn't the greatest feeling ever being a Jets fan for the past month and a half. But now the Jets are kind of in a situation where the schedule's tough and winning has been tough as is, especially against teams like the Sharks where they did not pick up 2 points. Big 2 points missed out against the Minnesota Wild. Now the Jets sit in the second wildcard spot, 4 points behind, 4 points above the Calgary Flames, who have a very easy schedule. So Steph, but I'm going to pass it over to whoever really wants to take the reins here.
I'll go for it. I haven't talked about the Jets in a while, I feel like, and with good reason. It made me mad. It's been a weird, bipolar couple weeks as Jets fans. Really, really has been. More so than I feel like at any other point in the recent memory. This is a team that we were, legit putting up there as a sleeper for a Stanley Cup run. As a legit, real threat. 3 weeks ago. We were slipping still, but this team looked like they were ready to add. They looked like they were ready to buy into a win-now mentality, finally actually picking a direction, and there was a lot to be excited for. And, you look at where you are right now, you look at the losses like Jackson said, you look at the schedule ahead of you. I did not realize, ladies and gentlemen, how bad the schedule was until we started talking right before we hit the record button. It is horrendous. We play the Panthers, the Lightning, the Hurricanes, and the Bruins. And then you finally get a couple little easy matches in there, but it's a back-to-back situation against Central Division opponents, which are crucial games, especially the Blues, and even the Predators right now, because everything's tight right now. You need those points. This team is just, I don't even know what to say about them. I cannot describe and even pinpoint exactly what's gone wrong. There's just so many things. It has been tough to watch. I want to throw it over to Zach because I'm curious. Carter too. You guys have been going to games. I know you've been in couple of the building a lot recently for this. You were even in New York for those losses at the start of all this. You've been there a lot for it. So I gotta know. Just fill me in. I'm watching on TV and it's painful. But what's going on with the fans? What's going on with the energy right now?
I'm gonna tell you because I kind of feel like I was there to witness their TSN turning point, and it was an innocent-looking road schedule. Columbus, New York, New Jersey, New York, New York. We should surely be able to get at least half points on that. The Rangers and Devils are loading up. Okay. The Islanders are broken to hell, and Columbus is Columbus. We should win half of those, right? No. We go into Columbus, we suck, and then and my brother and I and my family go, and you made a subway in New Jersey. We subway to New Jersey to see this. They blow a 2-1 lead. They blow multiple leads. A 2-1 lead in the third period to lose 4-2. Don't even pick up a point.
Perfetti then goes out, and now he's out till at least playoffs if we make it.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfetti's I wore my Perfetti jersey.
Oh God!
Yeah.
The power of the New Jersey subway destroyed Cole Perfetti's season. Goddamn.
Yeah, I got to listen to Devils fans going, "Where the fuck is Winnipeg?" As they're walking out of the subway, and it's like, we're in Manitoba.
11-2, Canada.
Yeah, no. That's a tangent, but holy shit, some Devils fans are nuts. Then we go to Madison Square Garden, where Hellebuck invokes a biblical performance, and what did it cost? Every game afterwards, but we didn't know it at the time. We thought, this is just every other night. No, because to get this game, it cost us a later game against Minnesota, and we didn't know it yet. And then they play the Islanders, and I'm like, this is an easy way to get 2 points. Matt Barzal just got injured. This team, I don't even know
This
half
one
the
hurts.
players on this list. Who the heck is Holmstrom? And they lose 2-1. They get Sorokin, and then they go home, and nothing improves.
And also,
Absolutely
about
nothing.
that Islanders game, that might have been the worst game I've ever seen Mason Appleton play. Holy shit.
A lot of people
That
played
was
bad in
crazy
that game.
for a lot of
Neil
people.
He
Pionk.
was fucking
He was bad.
Oh my god.
Pionk being bad's a bit of a theme for
Yeah,
this
but
season.
like I feel like that
He
was his
dropped
coming out
passes-
party for being terrible.
Like, Mason Appleton, man, that I've never seen him play so ungodly horrible. Like,
No,
it's not that he just was not playing good. It wasn't the lack of playing good. It's that he was actively deteriorating the guys around him. It was
Yeah.
just...
So after
Ugh.
this happens, this is right before, it's about a week before the trade deadline. Jets then go home, and we have hopeful thoughts. We then find out that Niederreiter's a Jet. That's exciting.
In the Toronto Pearson Airport, that is,
Yes,
of course.
yes.
The
It was
mess
very-
that is Toronto Pearson
It's
Airport.
a really weird move. Like, we found out, and then everyone else at our gate found out because it was going to Winnipeg. And what happens? He does really good. He's on a 4-game point streak right now, as we speak. He's played good despite all of this. Imagine if we didn't get him. We would already be tanking for Bedard. But Jets go home, and nothing improves. As Jackson said, 2 wins in their last 11 games, and he talks about 2 of the games that were a problem. There was a third one as well. LA.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
multiple leads against LA. A 2-0 lead against LA. And they just let Kopitar sit in front of that and go, bang, bang. Like, there was only one guy that night that could score for the Kings. He got 4 goals. The Jets, after having a great second period where they put up 2 late goals by Kevin fucking Stedland, of all people. And the Kings come back thanks to, Anze Kopitar again, then Gabriel Velarde, and they lose in a shootout because nobody has anything unique to show in a shootout despite 3 players.
You're forgetting
They
you're forgetting one important thing. We did also get delivered the last even though he wasn't playing, the last time Jonathan Quick would ever get a win as a member of the team, even though he wasn't starting. It was his last game ever as a King too.
Yeah,
It's crazy to think about.
Before becoming a Blue Jacket.
Gets traded that night in Winnipeg.
Jonathan Quick found out he was a Columbus Blue Jacket while having to leave the shitty city of Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I say that as an inhabitant of Winnipeg,
Yes.
Manitoba.
He learned he was going from Ohio to Ohio.
Yeah, he had to. He flew from northern Ohio to southern Ohio. Shockingly, didn't report with the team. Wow, what a surprise! So no one really won that night, but yeah, and then nothing else improves. We play awful in Edmonton, and then we pull a win out of our ass against Edmonton the next night, which I don't want to say is because we put Kyle Capobianco into the lineup.
Because we put
However,
Kyle Capobianco into the lineup. Arizona Sports Easy, I got you. I got you. Shout out to the
one thing-
Coyotes legend, Kyle Capobianco.
One
Oh,
thing
guys,
though
I
that's
googled this. No, I need to spare this. Guess.
Yeah,
Kyle
no, you haven't had enough time to
Capobianco's
talk.
shooting percentage. Guess his shooting percentage.
100%.
Oh, no. You've seen him miss many times. 20%.
yeah, because he's
that-
taken like 10 shots.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
He scored
Anyway.
on 2 of them.
Okay, Kyle Capobianco, he played fine. Shouldn't be on the team in my opinion. But anyway, moving along here. One thing that I think is kind of corny in the games that the Jets have lost is that it's not even like they've been beat. They just haven't decided they want to win the games. Like that
Exactly.
Sharks game. They had a ton of chances. Couldn't bury it. James Reimer, fine. It happens. Happens at a bad time, but it's James Reimer and it's the Sharks. That should
Walker
have won that
fought
game.
for the tying goal right off of
Yeah, Yep.
Okay,
So
me too.
yeah. They blew it with 10 seconds left. So
We're getting
thanks
Jackson
Neil
winded up,
Pionk.
heated up right now. I can see it.
And then, so I'm in attendance for that Sharks game, and then I
Same.
find out that I'm going to the Wild game, and I'm thinking, okay, well, here we go. This is the biggest game of the year, and the Jets come out and they shoot a bunch of pucks on Fleury. He just plays incredible. 2018 Western Conference Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah, literally.
And then, the Wild come the other way and score. And it's like, what is Marcus Foligno? And that's just the way the whole night went. Jets were just playing from behind the whole night. Could not score. They had like just about 50 shots on goal. Could not score. And then
one of them is a
down
Logan
one.
Stanley goal.
One was a Logan Stanley goal, which is a freaking miracle, man. I don't know. I've never seen him look fast in my life, except for that goal. So that was crazy. So we see the miracle on ice happen, and then there's 1 minute left in the game. It's an icing for Minnesota. They're a team that is on a back-to-back. Keep that in mind. They're on a back-to-back, up 3-2, I believe, at the time. And then Rick Bowness calls a timeout. And every single player on the ice goes, what? To the bench as they skate back. Why are we calling a timeout? So they go give Minnesota a rest, and then they go zip it over to Mark Scheifele. Scheifele can't handle the pass for like the 18th time, and some dude named Shaw goes the other way. I don't know who he is, and he scored the empty netter. And that's just how it's been. Like, it's not even like their last two games, I don't even think they've played bad, but they just refuse to win the game. They just refuse to pick up these points, and we wouldn't even be talking about the scheduling and everything if they had just scored once more in that Minnesota game. Or
Just win two of those. Like, just win one.
That's what
of
I'm saying.
them.
If that's what I'm saying. If you go finish that game against the Sharks, if you play hockey for 10 more seconds, you're fine. If you win the game, you pick up another point. Should have beat Minnesota the other night. They didn't. And now we're sitting in a spot where we're down 4 points. We're up 4 points on the Calgary Flames, and they have the easiest schedule I think I've ever seen in my life. They play, I think, Anaheim twice more. They play San Jose 2 or 3 more times.
Huh.
They play Chicago in there. They play Ottawa when Cam Talbot's hurt. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, the Jets legitimately might not make the playoffs, and I think there's a good chance they don't.
I don't think they make the playoffs. I'm going to say that right now. I've already said that. I said that on trade deadline day. I firmly believed after that deadline had passed and the Jets had made their move of acquiring Nemestikov, which also I just want to point out, thanks to Elliot Friedman today. Apparently, Nemestikov waived his no-trade clause to go to Winnipeg, which I did not know, which I actually love to hear about. He's been great, so shout out to him. I just want to point that out. But also, look, the Jets made 2 trades that have been actually good, and it hasn't helped at all because the team has imploded. And don't act surprised, because we all knew this could happen. All 4 of us on this call, everyone that covers this team as professionally or watches at home with their parents, has all known at every moment of the season that this could happen, because it was last year. This team is identical to last year, and none of us expected that they would be as good as they were at the start. But we bought in. We believed in them. And I still believe in this team a little bit. But what I'm seeing right now is the Jets I expect to see at Game 1 against the Rangers. This is the team I've expected to see when the injuries piled up. This is the team that I've expected to see just as the Jets. This is what I thought they would be.
We thought they were.
They got lucky. They banked up points, They had a lot of banked points. We talked about this too on the episode.
First in the West.
What do you got to be careful with those. Carter, I'll throw it to you in 1 second, I promise.
Yep.
And it's like you said, Jackson. It's like you look at the San Jose game, you look at the Minnesota game. These are games that you have them. You had these banked points, and you threw them all away on teams that you should have won. Just like last year when you lost games in regulation to teams that you should have beat and you could never get more than a 2-game win streak. This is the exact same problem that we saw throughout an entire season of Winnipeg Jets hockey last year with 2 different coaches. This mentality is just this team. This is the embodiment of what the Winnipeg Jets are. Just an incomplete team with no direction. And they had some for a little bit. They were hot. They had a new voice in there that made some changes. But at the end of the day, This is what this core knows how to do. This is what this core is when they play hockey together. It's not a knock on the team or anything to do with the individual talent of these players, but together they don't work anymore. I'm just I gotta say that I can't fucking. Yeah. It just angers me a little bit because it's like you had a chance, and they just threw it all away. Who would have thought you would have seen Axel Johnson Fajalbi on waivers get claimed to come in and be a top 6 player and actually help carry the Jets to multiple wins when they had half of this team injured? And somehow now they can barely get a fucking shot on the power play as a fully healthy team minus Perfetti. And even with Perfetti, they were still shit on the power play. Let's be real. Doesn't matter. When they were fully healthy, this team still could not connect for some reason. And now it's even worse with the Perfetti out. I just don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
I do, but
now
it's just...
one thing I will say, when it comes to the Jets situation now, is that as tough as the schedule we have is that realistically, if the Jets want to have any success in the playoffs, if they get to the playoffs, the thing is that you're going to have a point where you're going to be facing teams as tough as teams in the East, because I'll put it this way: what's the reason you go to the playoffs? Because you want to go win the Stanley Cup. At the end of the road, you're going to be playing someone from the East. One of those teams that are hard as shit, if you make it there, that's who you're going against. So this next road trip that we have coming up and these next games that we have coming up against opponents like Florida, like Tampa, like Boston, like Carolina, the Jets have to be able to figure out how to win against good teams. Because the fact of the matter is that if they ever want to go all the way, they have to be able to do it. And they have to be able to win 4 games in a series against a team like that. So the thing is that the Jets kind of have one last shot here when it comes, because realistically, the Jets, for a while, it was like, okay, well, is the team bad or is it something else? Paul Maurice left, they bring in Rick Bowness. They're like, okay, we're going to give this a try. If this doesn't work, that in a sense is kind of the last straw before you start moving some players and making some bold moves. Because you try changing up the coach, seeing if that can shake up the locker room and take these great pieces and put them together to really make a solid team. So they did that. It seemed like it had some success at the start of the year. So the question that I now have is, despite the Jets just having no finish against some teams that they really should have beaten, and sometimes quite handily, is that now that they have a difficult schedule above them, they need to figure out a way to push through all this adversity and pull out enough points and get themselves into a playoff spot. I know it's going to be difficult, and they're difficult opponents, but the fact of the matter is that if they were ever going to do anything in the playoffs to begin with, they need to be able to have that. Because if they don't, you'll have no success in the playoffs.
And while you may be correct, Padawan, I also believe that this team, we never saw this team fully healthy. You know what I mean? Like, I think that this team, when it was assembled with all the pieces, on paper it looked good. But I think that if this team started the season consistently with no injuries, with the exact same lineup that we're seeing right now, I think they'd be playing the exact same way they are right now. I think injuries saved the Winnipeg Jets, just like we've seen in the past with younger players getting opportunity to jump in.
I'm just saying, injuries or not, you have to be able to figure it out.
I'm not poking. I'm just saying it's weird because any other team would have crumbled under the injuries that the Jets had at the early start of this year. We saw it. We saw it in the Central Division. Colorado, St. Louis, Minnesota, these teams that are climbing up right now in the standings, they were shit to start the year, to be frankly, because of injuries. And now what are they doing? They're climbing up. They're chasing all these good teams in the East, even though they're not going to get there. They're still better teams now. The Jets, when they have all these guys in the mix, it seems like they just cannot finish and play their best version of themselves. Doesn't matter what. It's, Ehlers with Dubois, Scheifele with Wheeler, shuffling it around, this guy jumping in, Gagne's out, blah, blah, blah. There's something in that room that's not mixing. Because why is it that a team can consistently play well with plugs that are claimed on waivers that have no chemistry and have barely had any practice, can play well and win games for this team, yet when a healthy team with guys that have been on contract for years is finally assembled, they completely crumble. It's baffling. I've never seen something like this in the NHL, I feel like. Like, this team is healthy and can't play. They cannot play their Winnipeg Jets hockey that they want. Bonus was able to get this team to play his style of hockey with plugs that had to earn their way, and now that they've got these guys back, The best thing they can do is scratch Schmidt for Kyle Capobianco, because Kyle Capobianco is at least hungrier as an individual than what Schmidt is to at least buy into that system for a game. There's something wrong with this team. I didn't want to believe it at the start of this year. I think I have to accept that now. The evidence is just clear. I've watched it from game 1 to whatever, 66 we're at, or whatever the amount of games is that it's been already. I don't know. It's been a long time, and you see it now. No other team would have done that. Not with certain guys healthy here, and then other guys coming out, and then we play bad. Other guys coming in. It's just weird. Jackson, do you notice any of these connections too?
Well, hey. Oh, do I ever notice these connections? I'm not. I don't know. Last season, we all sat here and we said, this seems like the time that the Jets are going to blow it up. The core's rotten. This seems like this could be the year that maybe we see a Blake Wheeler get moved. And the Jets did apparently try to move Blake Wheeler, but moving that contract with 2 years left.
They didn't want.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants him now, by the way, either. Blake's been arguably the worst, and it just comes down to injury and age. But no knock on Blake Wheeler. It happens to every player.
Man's 36. It's going to happen.
35. Yeah. So he's finally regressed, but he regressed like a rock in the water, man. He just went straight to zero. But now you're sitting in a situation here where you might legitimately not make the playoffs. And with this core has been disappointing you for the last 4 years, but we keep on running it back. And at some point, you can't run it back anymore.
Exactly.
And I think we've hit this point now where it doesn't matter who's behind the bench. I don't think Paul Maurice was, not an issue, but definitely I don't know if it matters who's behind the bench. If it's Dave Lowry, Paul Maurice, Rick Bowness, I don't think this core is going to win. Now you got Mark Scheifele with 2 years left. You one after this year. Got Connor Hellebuck, same situation. You've got Pierre-Luc Dubois, who's likely a Montreal Canadian next year, and then you've got Blake Wheeler, who's either going to be bought out probably or shipped off somewhere or retired. So that's like half your top 6 right now, if you want to consider Blake Wheeler a top 6 forward at this point in his career, and arguably the best goaltender of the generation.
Yeah, it's
just
a weird
sitting there. So what are you going to do now? You have 1 year left. You can't go run it back again with no Dubois, no Wheeler, and just, kind of tinker around like you did last offseason. You pick up Manalainen and Kevin Stenlund and Dave Riddick and call it a offseason. You can't do that. So what do you do at this situation except tear it all down and start over? I don't know if you can. I don't know how you can run it back. There's no reason why the Jets aren't rebuilding this season, no matter what happens. Next season, no matter what happens. Because you cannot lose Mark Scheifele, Connor Hellebuck, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Names go on here for nothing. You just can't do it. And at the trade deadline, you're not going to get maximum value for those guys. It has to be in the offseason.
I completely agree, Jackson. I really think it's come to this point. I think the only thing we all might disagree on is what you exactly do. Like every fan will. But the time has come to blow it up. This core has had their opportunity, and you can't say that they haven't. Mark Scheifele, ladies and gentlemen, is 29 right now, going on 30. You can't act like he's still a young kid that we drafted with our first overall pick way back when. Like, this core has had their window. They've got to the Western Conference Final. They've got to the second round once. They underachieved a couple times in there too, and then just plain out sucked. At least we had some good memories. Let's try to be, competitive in a couple years at least. It's where I am now. I think you have to blow this team up. Thankfully, because Cheveldayoff at least is good at drafting. Hopefully, if they are able to move these guys, maybe we'll be lucky. You'll get some really insane, play out of some prospects. We've all been talking about the prospects in our system for a long time. I don't know how crazy me and Jackson have been talking about Ville Heinola with Zach as well for the last 2-3 years. And, maybe you finally get an opportunity or whatever. Declan Chisholm. The point is that there's a lot to be still excited about, people, but I want you to just get ready because it's going to get dark here for a second. I think the first move you got to do is you got to dump Blake Wheeler immediately. I think Blake Wheeler is the big problem in the room still. I think that no matter, like you said, Jackson, no matter who's behind the bench, he's going to run that room still no matter what, because he's the old head, he's the dad, he's the guy that's been there the longest. He has that right, as the veteran that he's been gifted by his coaches in his past, and I think that that's just never leaving the locker room till he's gone. So that's move number one. No matter what, even if you have to buy him out, you cannot have young guys coming up and adapting that culture, even if it's with 1 year. What happens if Cole Perfetti next year is just buddy because he's the only guy left with Blake Wheeler, and that's the mentality he adopts for the rest of his career, and that's what we get instilled with the next core. Like, I'm being serious. Like, that could easily happen. It's already happened with Mark Scheifele. We're obviously seeing it now. Like, you have to get him out. So that's my first move. I'm going to say that now. I'm going to throw it over to Jackson. What's your first move you do in the offseason?
I don't know if you can. Okay, so if you're stripping it down to the studs here, and obviously I love Connor Hellebuck, and I wish Connor Hellebuck would be Jet for life here, but realistically, are these guys going to want to come back? Mark Scheifele, I think you have a chance to re-sign, just because I don't know why. I feel like they'd throw the checkbook at him. I don't really want him either.
I don't think they would.
Imagine the haul you could get from Mark Scheifele.
I think this core. I think Chipman's ready to move on after this year. If they miss the playoffs again, I think that'll be enough.
I don't like speculating what Mark Chipman has to say, but
I
really wonder. I don't. You know what? I don't care what Mark Chipman has to say. I really don't.
Because they're finally gonna do red jerseys.
Exactly.
We have to.
Unfortunately, he'll be like, "Oh, you know what? We're gonna run it back, but to tame the fans, we're gonna have red jerseys this year. We've been listening. True North's been listening. Anyway, okay, whatever. Enough about Mark Chipman. If you're going to tear it down to the studs, you've got some pretty good prospects down there that are going to be ready in a year or two, with Lambert, Lucius, Villy, if they ever decide to play him. Sandberg's emerged as a really good player here, and countless other guys. Jolk and names go on. Doesn't matter. The prospect system is better than I think that a lot of people give it credit for. But one thing that, hey, why wouldn't you capitalize? Be bad for a year or two, pick up some good picks, ship out Connor Hellebuck as much as that pains me to say, because if you have a Vezina winning goaltender, if you have that guy back there, one of the guys that's been really shadowing a lot of the Jets' issues that they've been having for the last 3 seasons, like, it's been Connor Hellebuck standing on his head, and that's a large part of why the Jets have been so successful, including this season. You can't have that in a rebuild when you're trying to not win, right? So he has to go. Blake Wheeler has to go. Get whatever you can for Pierre-Luc Dubois. I'm assuming the package would be like Florida's first-round pick that Montreal owns right now, a prospect, and some whatever guy, and just go to town, rip it all down, start off new.
I'd be worried about a Dubois trade in terms, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying realistically with the Dubois trade, we're not going to get full value because
we're not.
Because of how public it is that he not only wants to leave but wants to go to Montreal.
No, we're not. Elliot Friedman said this morning, actually, I believe he was on the Jeff Merrick show, that the Jets and the Canadians have talked on and off this season about a Dubois trade in the offseason. So we know what's happening. But I think it's impossible that Montreal acquires him without a first-round pick.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Without a doubt. I think it just depends on what guy you're getting back. If you're getting their a top prospect, for example, or a guy that's actually a roster player, which I think is what the Jets want. I think the Jets honestly are probably trying to go after a Cole Caulfield. I think in that situation.
They're not giving up Cole Caulfield.
I know. I think that's who they want, though. I don't think they're gonna have it, but the Jets are gonna go for it. They're gonna buy low, and then they're gonna take a guy like it'll be like the Pionk trade. It'll be a guy they see value in that the fan base didn't see any value in, that the GMs didn't like. It'll be like that.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna trade for Kovacevic.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was part of the bundle. You know how Chevy is at going back for guys. He traded a 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick for Mason Appleton, and then signed him to what is Mason Appleton making? Hold on, no, you shut up. Mason Appleton was traded for a 3rd-round fucking pick and is making $3 million, 4th, and is making $3 million basically. So no, that has to be said. So Cheval Day off, that is their biggest fuck up of all time. But nonetheless, I digress.
They are gonna trade for Jonathan Kovacevic in the package and Justin Barron. That's what the fucking market.
I wondered about Barron.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's coming back.
The Barron Bros.
Yeah, I don't really like
awesome.
Morgan Barron that much. I haven't seen that much from him this year personally. There's been stretches I've liked, but
Oh, Jake, that's Zach's boy.
I know. Yeah, he met him at a bowling tournament or
Getting in his
whatever.
mic.
Woohoo.
Did you just say you met him at bowling?
That's where he met him, right?
I did.
It was at bowling. That's
You
why
met him at work.
at bowling.
No,
It was at
I
bowling.
met him at bowling.
Oh, I thought it was at your work.
No, I know the story, man. Jesus Christ. How
I guess
dare
I
you?
don't.
How dare you?
Anyway, so I haven't said anything in a while because I don't like thinking this far ahead because it's just my nature. I'm gonna give the people that are still watching at this point. First off, thank you.
It's only been half an hour, bro.
Yeah. Secondly, is it half an hour?
29.
Okay.
Exactly.
Zach has
Exactly.
Zach has as much hope for viewership
Hey,
as he
George,
does
shut
for
the
Jets.
fuck up. The short-term future. The Jets season will be decided in the next 4 to 5 games.
The next 4 games before Nashville, I think. This
4
stretch in the
games?
East.
Against the East, that's the season. If they win 2 of them and Calgary loses more than twice, Jets can make the playoffs. I don't expect Calgary to lose twice, but if they do, then Jets have 4 games in hand on them with practically like 11 left. And they can split, and the Jets can split the difference because they've actually been pretty good and decent against Central Division teams, not named the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh God, would that mean that would be?
If the Jets lose 3 or lose 4, season's done. If they go 2-2, well, friends, we wait for another 5-game stretch to find out. And
Tune
then
in
if the
next
Jets,
time.
or if the Jets win all 4, and the Jets are going to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, well, let's look on the bright side, boys. Right now, we're playing Vegas in the first round. Woohoo!
So we get to get.
I was about to say Jets if they
We
they
get some
want to do
nostalgia
around
in
the
there
playoff,
when our loss.
they need to make it in a wild card spot and play through the Pacific.
You know that
Vegas or
that would-
South?
Vegas right now it would be
I
Vegas.
like Vegas, actually. Their goaltending depth isn't great, and we've been proven to be able to score on Jonathan Quick.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll if we're there.
We're not talking
we'll
about playoffs. We're
cross that
talking about
bridge.
trade. Jackson, I just wanted to say since we're
Well,
talking about the
Hope you fool.
the rebuild thing. I know what you're saying about Hellebuck, and I totally understand that. I honestly view it as you trade out Mark Scheifele, do whatever you can to get rid of Blake Wheeler. You move out Pierre-Luc Dubois, and then whatever you bring back with those guys, you keep what we already have. Because we still have Nino Niederreiter, who's going to be under contract for next year. So that's a top 6 addition still. I still think this team can still be a little competitive right now. Like I don't think they need a tank. I think they have enough pieces coming up that we should see where they are and almost retool it. I don't think they're full rebuild mode yet because I only say that because they have so many good first round prospects that are so raw still. Like look at Brad Lambert, Chaz Lucius, Ville Heinola, and then this Dominic DiVincenzi or whatever the last name coming up. There's just so many interesting prospects that I want to see more before I go into a full on let's tank for 3-4 years. That's my only thing. Because it's if we were next year if they made the playoffs, lose, and then they run it back again, God forbid, that is when I would be just fucking blow it up to oblivion. I would not want it anymore because it's going to become, it's going to be coming anyway. But I think this year, because you still have Ehlers under contract, you still got Josh Norrisy. Hellebuck still has that 1 year, and he's still committed to this team, I believe.
Norrisy's a
do.
lifer. What are you talking about?
They have pieces still. I don't know how they make it work. That's where Kevin Cheveldayoff has been proven that he cannot attract any talent to Winnipeg, at all. The man is just horrendous at pitching this city. I feel it is bad, guys. It is bad. It is on historic levels of historic
To be
levels.
fair, it's also not an easy thing to do.
No, it is not. Okay, have you been to Edmonton, Carter? Have you been to Edmonton in the winter? Have you in general?
No,
Yes.
Look, I'm gonna say this as someone that lives in Vancouver, lives in whatever you could call it, the first, the second best city in Canada based on looks, whatever. I don't give a shit. I don't think it's that great. Every city outside of Vancouver and Toronto is the exact same in Canada. It's cold in the winter with lots of snow, and it's got a lot of brick buildings. It's just the way it is. And a lot of bad roads. Okay, that's it. I don't know why everyone makes this big deal about Winnipeg. The guys play there for like what? You have 82 games this season, so what? There's 41 games at home. Half the time's on the road. Fuck off in the summer. Like, it's not that big. If you can get guys to come and play in Calgary of all places, and all these places, in Ottawa. Have you ever been to Ottawa? I know Ottawa's semi-close to Toronto, but Ottawa? Like, come on, guys. I think, like, there's so many problems with this team. We haven't even started talking about management yet. I think Chevy get the fuck out of here, too, for any of this stuff.
True North needs to buy some real estate in Kenora, and that will be their pitch. You get yourself a free cabin. Get yourself a Kenora cabin for the summer.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Well, if we're gonna be talking about management here, one thing that I made a whole video.
The only thing the Jets are buying at the deadline is Portage Place.
That's awesome.
Actually, yeah, that was a good joke.
But if we are talking about management here, that whole press con, I talked about it. I made the longest video I've ever made on my channel about it. Just Kevin Cheveldayoff's infamous press conference that he had after the trade deadline, telling the fans. He blamed the fans for his lack of aggressiveness, basically saying that the fans need to stop playing fantasy hockey. Kevin, all we wanted was capable players in the bottom six. That's all we wanted. We just wanted something nice. We just wanted you to help out our guy Connor Hellebuck and our guy Josh Morrissey over here, who are having career years and have really pushed through the last 5 seasons, really stuck their necks out for you. Could have gave them one last run, but we didn't do that.
Because
and
it's not
do I really
hockey.
care? That at the time really pissed me off.
It pissed me
and
off
it still does. But I'm full out on Kevin Cheveldayoff. I think I think the whole press conference was very condescending. I think it was a little bit directed maybe poorly at the fans, and I don't get it. I don't understand it. Where all that's coming from. We just wanted this team to be good, and we just wanted you to give the team a chance, but he did not deliver. And now I don't see a reason why next season he's going to be like, here we go, guys. I believe in you again. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think, whether you believe that Chevy's the problem or if it's Mark Chipman, who is known to be a very overbearing owner, and maybe Chevy's just the puppet in this situation, we might never know.
I mean, exactly.
But I think move number one in the offseason is you have to let Kevin Cheveldayoff go. I know it won't happen because he's best friends with Mark.
Also, I was about to exactly. It wasn't move number one of last offseason extend Chevy. It was literally move number one, day one of the offseason. I remember making the video. It was Chevy. Yeah,
you do.
I do.
4 hours.
Yep.
After the Jets played their 82nd game of the year. 4 hours! And they're like, yep.
We run it back!
We're running this shit back!
I have never seen the temperature so hot on him before. You've always had people sticking their necks out for him, me included. About
I would say me too. I love his drafting still, man. I've always defended him because of the drafting.
Exactly. Make Chevy lead scout. His drafting is great.
we give Chevy I'm not meaning to, this isn't gonna be a shit on Chevy thing because you guys have said your piece. I'm just gonna say this: scouting is not complete. Being able to draft great players isn't just a Chevy thing. The Winnipeg Jets pay the highest amount of money towards scouting in the National Hockey League. It's up there with the Canadians. Us and the Canadians pay the two most towards scouting because we know we're not paying it in free agency, that's for sure. This is a getting the right people to do their fucking job thing. We don't need Chevy to draft good players. We just need to invest in scouting, which we do.
So it begs out the question, Chevy probably is the problem. If you can have all this, if you've got scouting killing it since literally day one, guys, we have. Let's just put this into perspective. The only bust the Jets have ever had is Christian Vesalainen, and I say that because Logan Stanley is still in the NHL right now. No matter what you think about him, he's still an NHL player, and he still probably will be when he leaves this team.
Yeah.
So that's not a bust. It's not a great pick at 18 or wherever he was, but it's not a bust because he's in the league. You're not a exactly. So it's I don't know. That fucking again, literally this whole podcast literally is exactly how I feel about the Jets. It's so hard to follow. And I think that that's great because that's how the whole fan base feels right now. I think everyone feels like us, at least to some degree. They don't know what to feel. They don't know what to think, what to do. Because what the fuck do you do? This, like you said, Jackson, this team is playing pretty good hockey, but refuses to win. You know, like Zach said, going through every game that he saw live. Like, this team had moments. It had the TSN turning points. Like, all this shit. No matter what, there's still nothing you can do where it's like, that's the one issue. Like, even me, I think that I have an idea of what's wrong with this team, but it's not fucking, not even close to being right, because they still can't win, like Jackson said. Like, everyone on here has said something different about this team. Like, it's complete 180 almost every time we've talked, and it's all been still correct somehow. That is how confusing this team is right now in the last 2 weeks. That we can literally go from here, and somehow it's all connected still and makes sense.
Our podcast, like, weeks talking to the Jets are like this.
How can it not be with the way they're playing right now, man? Management, on ice performance, coaching, trade deadline, media. Like, it's just the stories are. It's never ending. We didn't even talk about the fact that they minced all this losing streak. Did you see the players taking practice in the warm up thing? How happy everybody was filming that video, talking about the phone contacts. I hope that video was filmed long before this losing streak started, because my God. The attitudes that they all had in that video was like they're on a fucking about to win the Central. I'm not even joking. Like, they're all laughing, bonuses, having a great time. Everyone's smiling. It's like, you have won 2 games out of your, last 11? Is that what you said?
11, yep.
2 out of the last 11, and you're us all fucking shits and giggles because someone asked us who our most favorite person, who our most famous phone contact is. Like, and everyone's having a great time about that. You guys should watch it after, because if it was filmed today, that's so pathetic, even for the fans.
I think that was filmed well in advance.
It has to be. I really hope so. But again, I just also want to say the lineup was exactly as what everyone said today with Capobianco and all of that. So it was a little weird. So I'm just
one thing though that I think I don't know, we can all agree with is we're tired, man. We're tired. We've been running this same core into the ground for about 5 seasons now. You stumbled into success in that 17-18 year, and then, you know, we all know what happened after it. Lion gone, just the debacle that was the 18-19 season, where you know, it's very comparable to this one. The Jets were very good. We're a very good team until the calendar flipped, and then they weren't, and then they lost to the first round with the Blues. And I think you're going to see a repeat of that this year if they even make the playoffs. I don't know. Just as a fan, I'm just tired. Just with all the excuses, with all the BS corporate crap with True North and everything about, we got hit hard by COVID. Do you know who your owner is? Do you know who he's fine. Like, I don't think we need to worry too much about True North right now. I think that they need to really look in the mirror this offseason and actually make some change. Or I think, you know, you're already seeing it this season, and you're seeing it a lot more now with the last 2 games I've gone to. People are going to start talking with their wallets, and they're not going to show up.
Yep. Then you're going to really see it with season tickets. That's going to be the really big thing in the offseason, I think. It's going to really scare management if they end into making moves.
Was it the San Jose game or the LA Kings game that was the lowest attended?
I believe it was the Kings game.
It was the Kings game.
I'm going to tell you. And we know it's the Jets fans that aren't showing up, because people that live in Los Angeles don't even know where Winnipeg is. So, you know, it's on your side for the reason why people weren't showing up to the game. Like,
exactly.
The only reason there was, you know, quite a bit of seating in that Minnesota game, and by the way, the section I was sitting in, there was at least 20 seats to my right that were not filled, like in my section. Like, it was like scarce in there. Like, I could kick my feet up. Like, it was empty in there. The only reason it was close to full was because there's a lot of Minnesota fans, because Minnesota is right underneath Manitoba, and a lot of Minnesotans live here.
And they also can't forget the bobblehead game. That was the Oilers loss, right?
4 bobbleheads. So this is true. They like to do their bobblehead stuff. Like, so after the first period, the people will start scraping through these things to see which bobbleheads are still on the part of the seat where like because they're
on the seat, yeah.
Instead of putting them under, so they know who hasn't claimed them, because no one would put it on a seat. So they started scraping through, and they picked up a lot of fucking bobbleheads. Dallas,
those are all getting sold for
10-4. What? Dallas has 10 goals. Okay, my dad just sent me that text. Wow. While the Jets are just death, Dallas is putting up a touchdown and a field goal. All right.
10-4. Holy fuck! 14 goals scored already in that game.
Oh, yeah, forget the fucking the total.
Has anyone got a hat trick? I gotta look now real quick. Timeout, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna look at this random game in Buffalo.
No. But Radek Faksa has 2.
And Ryan Sutter has 5 points. Oh no, he's a +5. Never mind. They swapped where the points are. I was gonna say, Ryan Sutter's got 5 points. Jesus Christ, that'd be crazy. But nonetheless,
guys,
though,
Hammers off.
it gets even better for the Jets, guys.
even better.
Welcome to Winnipeg Jets hockey, the Winnipeg Jets fan experience. There's no happiness. There's no happiness.
Hey, how about that?
Wow.
All
right. Well,
I think we should.
On that note, yeah, I don't. Man, the season sucks so bad right now. We're sitting here getting excited that our Central Division opponent just hung 10 goals on the Buffalo Sabres.
And
what else are we gonna celebrate?
Yeah, right. Like what else are we gonna do here? I hope the Jets play better, and I hope they do go on this run. I hope they do play better in the last however many games they have left here. But I just don't know. I don't know if it's gonna happen. We've talked about the doom and gloom all day today. There really isn't much good to talk about. The most hopeful we feel about here is retool or rebuild, however you want to look at it, and going forward, that might be what happens, but you never know with this organization because they can never pick a direction.
Nope.
But with that, thank you for watching. It's been a little while. Lots changed since our last episode.
Yeah.
Go follow Jake over at Pig City Hockey. All our individual channels down below. Zach and Carter over at the Nolan Hockey Podcast. Everything down there, and me on Jet Sub. So yeah. We will see you in the next one.
We will.
Will we be in the playoffs? Will we be in the off season?
Leave your predictions in the comments section.
Leave a prediction. When will the next video drop? A week? 4?
We don't know.
4? 8? Yeah, we don't know. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.